So when I went plant-based on 2015, in my mind, I was like, this is the answer. This is how I'm going to get med-free. That was always on my mind. So that was always my goal. I don't want to be on medication. One of the things certainly was the chat. Definitely was warm, and I think you were a very honest person, and you really see that you were there more for help than for anything else. And the other thing was that I kind of, not that I lost faith in my doctor, but I lost faith in medicine. And I needed to find another path, a more natural path to address the issue. And having someone that has gone through my condition, and not just a medical professional that will pretty much treat me as another case in a book. I needed to go through this journey with someone that understood what I would feel and what I have felt. So definitely when I spoke to you, I relate to you quite a lot. And I said, this is probably the best way. I know you're definitely on the other side, and you're going to provide me more information and answers of what has happened to me. And I attest to that I guess I found out that what things I was doing wrong. And I'm now on the other side, and I think I enjoy this lifestyle now, and I want to keep it that way for a very long time. Just working with you guys, the whole program is very easy to follow. It's just a mentoring that you guys do on a weekly basis. So it was surprising for me to start now seeing things were progressing for the best, just not seeing blood in my stool or being seen less and less. It was a sign that the program was working for me, and that what I had committed to was bringing results. I kept track, we pretty much keep track of everything that happens on a daily basis, and weekly meetings, we go over those. So looking at the data now, I see that it took me about, I would say, 9 to 10 weeks to see a response for improvement in my body. When I first started the healing diet, when I said I'm no longer taking the meds, I probably stopped taking my medication around the second week of January, and I started seeing improvements about the third week of March. So it took about 9 to 10 weeks to see improvement. So if you think about it, it really isn't much of time. I mean, it's time well invested. Considering that this is a lifetime condition, I mean, that's nothing. And so the trend basically started going down. I was going to the restroom less often. I was seeing less amount of blood in my stool. And I think around May, second week of May or first week of May is when I basically transitioned to the post-healing diet. So my symptoms became stable. My condition was normal, back to before my condition. So it was about 17 weeks since I basically started healing until basically I was able to heal myself. Every person's journey is different, but just think about 4 months committed to this. It isn't really, it's worth it to everybody out there. You're no longer contaminating your body. You're pretty much giving the body what it needs to be in its best condition, and just understanding that if you keep this lifestyle, if you keep this way, you're gonna live a long life. You're gonna be there for the loved ones. Thank you so much, you and your brother, for what you guys are doing. You guys are saving lives. You guys, I think I asked you, I guess you guys have helped over 300 people out there. I mean, it's just amazing how many people you've helped over time. And it's just amazing to know that you guys are doing this for people. If you're questioning that this is not, this is going, I guess, what the medicine is saying, there's science behind this. I mean, and if you are questioning what went through my journey, I provided some data to Shamiz, and my lab results before I started the program, after I finished the program, are proof of how my body was able to respond to this for them. And I'm still here. And if I did it, you guys can do it. Just believe in yourself. And you're the only one can make this choice. You gotta put yourself the effort and just go through it. This is something that is temporary, and just have the braveness to go through it. It's accomplishable, and it's not hard. So believe in yourself. I believe in you guys.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. It's testimonial time again, and we have Mauricio here who's going to talk to us about his journey to health. And I'm really excited because we're going to go quite in depth in this testimonial and talk to you about how he has been able to go through his detox or his healing process and come out the other side. And we're going to kind of evaluate all the stages that he went through. So I'm going to hand it over to him, and he's going to introduce himself. And I think tell us a little bit about your life before you had colitis and before you came across the plant-based diet and things like that. And then I guess we'll talk about some of the events that happened as you started to get sick and eventually get onto a plant-based diet, find us, and be healthy on the other side. So I'll hand it over to you, Mauricio, and tell us a little bit about your health beforehand and how you found a plant-based diet as well, etc.
Hi everyone. So yeah, my name is Mauricio. So my journey pretty much on the plant-based side started about 6 years ago, approximately about 5 years ago, and it was a decision I took to better my health. It was actually right around the time, or maybe a little bit after my first child was born, and I think having a child definitely changes your perspective in life. That you got to be there for them, and be for your partner, be for your wife throughout life. And definitely had some events throughout my life before that kind of put me in the path of living in a plant-based lifestyle, trying to go around that. So it's been a very interesting journey for me. At least I think I've come around to meet um, nice people with it, and it's been definitely a lifetime journey for me, I guess, in that short period of time.
Definitely. What actually made you go plant-based initially? It was for health, right?
Correct. So it was for health reasons.
And
As I said, I
what
guess.
did that involve?
Mhm.
So why did you do it for health reasons? Did you look at the research? Did you look at the science? What was it that really pushed you towards, I guess, eliminating animal products?
I think for me was a combination of things. I mentioned my child, my first child, but um, I have suffered from different, I guess, illnesses. I guess if you might say, and I think kind of pushed me to reevaluate what I was doing with my life. How was I was pretty much eating. I was keeping my body healthy, and just by watching, I guess, documentaries on Netflix, were kind of um, the aspect that actually pushed me over to make that decision. Just understanding the kind of harm that I was doing to myself, and how I could basically take control of my health by making these simple choices and not really having to change much. So I basically made my decision and moved forward with it. It certainly was something that I consulted with my wife. I told her this is, I think, it's something that I should do, and it's gonna basically allow me to live a longer life and be with you guys, be there for you guys, basically.
Yeah, nice. All right, cool. So you kind of switched to a plant-based diet. When did you get diagnosed with this condition of ulcerative colitis? Talk about that. Talk about your doctor as well, and how I guess he was quite on board with a plant-based diet as well. So let's talk about the diagnosis.
So this all started in 2011, around 2011. Before I was actually diagnosed, I was in fact admitted to the hospital a few times, and the doctors pretty much treated my symptoms with IV mainly and soft foods at the hospital. So it kind of helped when I was there, but it didn't really address the issue. Um, my back then general doctor, he did some tests on me, thinking it was something, some kind of inflammation, some kind of diarrhea, and gave me medication for that. But it really never addressed the issue until he referred me to a GI doctor, which whom actually did a colonoscopy on me, and that was the time when he identified the root cause of the issue being ulcerative colitis. So at that time, just like everybody else, finding that I guess you have a lifetime condition, you kind of scared and you question yourself. I'm at this stage in my life. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? um, so I guess I had to make myself the idea of having to take medication for life. That's what the doctor told me. And that was another factor that eventually kind of pushed me to the plant-based diet, and that I guess I needed to take back control. So diagnosed in 2011, and I would say pretty much until 2015, which is when I decided to go plant-based. Um, After I was diagnosed, I still encountered difficulties with my health, possibly related, possibly unrelated to this condition, this UC condition. I was admitted to the hospital once again for kidney stones. Um, that was not nice. And then I also was taking out my appendix. So that was in another instance. So that happened before I decided to go plant-based. So those were some of the things that kind of pushed me to make this choice for myself and for my family. Just thinking that something was definitely wrong with me at this age. Not really normal for me to have these kinds of conditions on me. Um, I think I was living a very stressful life, work related, not eating the healthiest, not really exercising that much. Um, I would even question, I guess, the amount of water that I was taking back then. My wife would always tell me, "You got to be drinking more water. I don't see you drinking water." So she was always on top of me on things and all of that sort. So I guess the combination of all those things is the kinds of things that basically happened before I actually decided to make this choice. That eventually, I guess, I found about you guys. When I went plant based, I did it because of my condition, and you guys were definitely the top uh, matches in terms of me looking for information, but really never pulled the trigger until recently.
Right, right. Okay, so did you see any kind of differences while switching to a plant-based diet? And this time you were also on medications as well?
Yes, I will say that when I started my plant-based diet journey, certainly my symptoms kind of lessened a little bit. Um, was not doing the best or healthiest way of eating plant-based, but was still doing some, definitely eating processed foods. But I guess the amount of times that I have flares reduced significantly. Reduced significantly. I did mention this to my doctor at that time when I made that change, and he was supportive of it. He was certainly always pointing out that there was no evidence of a plant-based diet helping with the finding the I guess resolving the issue. Um, so he was always like questioning that, but he was supporting that higher amount of fiber, low-fat diets would definitely help me in with my symptoms.
Yeah, nice. So your doctor, your GI doctor, was on board, and he basically yeah, he didn't say that diet had nothing to do with it, or he didn't say that he didn't rubbish diet, for example. He kind of supported you on what you wanted to do, which is always handy when you know you go to a specialist. you don't want them to disregard lifestyle change, do you? So I think that was a good aspect of having the doctor there to kind of suggest that and not rubbish it, for example. So okay, cool. So what led you to make that change, or what led you to push that trigger and contact us and after seeing testimonials, obviously, as with other testimonials that you would have seen on our YouTube channel, what was it that you kind of said to yourself, right, I need to do this now and I need to get some help? Because even though I'm plant-based, I'm still probably not doing the things that I'm doing, and I want to be off medication. So what was the trigger that you pulled?
So when I went plant-based in 2015, in my mind, I was like, this is the answer. This is how I'm going to get med-free. That was always on my mind. So that was always my goal. I don't want to be on medication. But as you pointed out, I guess I still had flares along the way. So a few months before I contacted you guys, I started seeing blood in my stool. I even saw blood in my urine. So the combination of both alarmed me and my wife. So I messaged my doctor, my GI doctor, and he immediately sent me to do some labs. My general doctor to ask me for a few other exams. My results came somewhat normal with the regular levels of a person with ulcerative colitis. But they asked me to do a scan of my kidney functions. They asked me to do I'm just trying to think what the name is, but basically they put a scan through my men's part. So they look inside, and that was not very comfortable. So those kinds of things kind of say, why do I have to put myself in this situation all this time? Would I have to do this very often or that often? So the results came back from those scans, and another thing that was interesting about me that I didn't know before was that the scan of my kidneys revealed that I only have one kidney. So that was very revealing to me that I had no backup. So I found out that I guess I was probably born that way. So I asked my mom, and she didn't know. She didn't remember. I mean, and I guess there's three ways that you can find out you only have one kidney. It's either you're born that way, you had a removal of your kidney, or you had another kind of more severe surgery that required to remove your kidney. But in my case, I don't remember any of those other two, so I was born that way. So I understood that I had to take care of myself a little more. Um, so it was just the pain of going through those situations. It was just the pain going through those situations that really didn't make sense for me to live this way. And I had actually my third child on the way. So it was like, no, I guess this isn't getting any better. I had already watched a lot of testimonials from the people that you guys work with, and it just kind of pushed me, and it made me make that decision.
Yeah, nice. And it's Mauricio's story is even more impressive because he had a newborn to deal with during his healing phase, and I'm sure we'll cover that as well. And cool. So once you did the 30-minute consult with me, what did you think of that consult, and what made you sign up to our program after that consult? Or did you already know that you were going to do this beforehand?
I think one of the things certainly was the chat. Definitely was warm, and I think you were a very honest person, and you really see that you were there more for help than for anything else. And the other thing was that I kind of, not that I lost faith in my doctor, but I lost faith in medicine. And I needed to find another path, a more natural path to address the issue. And having someone that has gone through my condition, and not just a medical professional that will pretty much treat me as another case in a book. I needed to go through this journey with someone that understood what I will feel and what I have felt. So definitely, when I spoke to you, I relate to you quite a lot, and I said this is probably the best way. I know you're definitely on the other side, and you're gonna provide me more information and answers of what has happened to me. And I attest to that. That I guess I found out that what things I was doing wrong, and I'm now on the other side, and I think I can I enjoy this lifestyle now, and I want to keep it that way for a very long time.
Fantastic, yeah, and I think it is an amazing lifestyle to live, and I urge a lot of people out there watching to actually give it a try. It's you really don't have anything to lose when you're eating fruits and vegetables, and the way you feel is just I can't even describe to you how you feel. Like Mauricio knows how he feels now, and I know how amazing it feels. You've just got to get to that point, and you will also experience this beautiful lifestyle. So, all right, so you have talked to me, and you've signed up, and we're going through the healing process, and I think we can do this through different stages. Talk about your experience on, I guess, the early part of when we kind of used that transition style of coming to the healing diet, and how you found that. And then when we got to the healing diet, I guess we'll talk about that. But let's talk about the first part of this journey for you, and I guess the transition to more starchy foods, more starch-based vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, and things like that, and how your bowels responded, and how your detox went, or how your healing crisis went. Let's dive into that.
So let me point out that when you and I had that first conversation, it was the day after when I pulled the trigger, when I basically enrolled myself in the program. So at that point in time, you guys provided me with material to start kind of read on and understand what was going to go through the program. So I had my first consultation with your brother, Jakul, and when I was basically starting the transitional diet, eating more starchy foods, I was certainly still finding blood in my stool, but I do see that introducing more simple foods than processed foods had a better result on my bowel movements. Easy to pass through my body. Um, and I kind of understood the process that my body needed to go through basically to detox, start a detox. So at that time, I was still taking medication. Um, I was still taking medication, and the numbers of my bowel movements were still kind of what they were before. They sort of maintained. Um, so getting used to the transitional diet, it wasn't much of a hard time for me. Since I was coming from a plant-based diet, I just needed to eliminate a few things here and there. So I would understand someone not coming from a plant-based diet, the level of effort for them to get used to eliminating animal products. But for me, that was something that I had done years back. So that was, in my mind, not an issue anymore. Um, your brother was very informative. He was very, he would kind of guide me very well through the process. So it wasn't too hard. Uh, Only until I guess I reached the point to do the healing diet is when things started to get more interesting. Hold on, I got my little one over here. Sorry.
That's all right.
Um,
That's fine. That's fine.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's actually dive in. So I think one of the biggest concerns for yourself was blood in the stool, and that's something that anyone that's going through ulcerative colitis knows the fear of passing blood through their stool and going, wow, that's a lot of blood in the toilet. And um, how did you feel when you went through that process? Because there was a time when you did get increased frequency and increased bowel movements and increased blood in your stool. And how did you resolve that, or how did you um, feel when you read all the information and you understood that this is a self-healing process? How did you feel when you were getting that increased blood, and because it is scary, when you see that more often. So talk a little bit about that.
So I understood from the program, and I understood from you guys that my body having more blood in my stool was something that was needed to happen. I needed to basically get rid of toxins that are within my body that I given to my body throughout all this time, and it was necessary. So I made that switch in my mind, and I sort of welcomed it more than being fear about it. So I guess understanding that I was gonna see blood in my stool was like more like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, let's get rid of everything. Uh, and it really didn't concern me much. I think it was having trust in the program, having trust in you that this was the way to go, and at one point this was going to end. So just knowing that this was something temporary, and I was in good hands, I just made me, I guess, go with it and follow through the program.
Yeah, and I think also just to mention that Mauricio was also having a baby at this time, so he was up at night. The hours were odd as well, so he did manage to get his sleep, and he did manage to work around the healing diet and the healing process. But that's also another challenge that he had to face, and I think he really did really well when having all these other issues around him, as well as his kids, taking care of your kids, dropping them to school. You had to do all those things as well as heal your body. And while maybe if you hadn't have had done those things, it could have made the journey a little bit easier. But you still stuck to doing what you needed to do, and I think you still had the urgency, you still had the frequency, but you just managed. And I think that was pretty key because it's not easy to go through the healing process and take care of your kids, especially a newborn. And I think I said that to you at the start. Like, this is going to be a challenge for you. However, if you're ready for it, then we can do this together. And I think you made it happen. You worked around the duties of being a dad, and you dealt with that process. So I think you've got to give yourself a massive pat on the back for that because I know what it's like to go through healing as well. It's not very comfortable, and for you to do all those other things around that, I think it's even more impressive that you were able to go through the healing and come out the other side. Um, I think another point that I'd like to make is that when you go through the healing process, we will actually look at your bowel movements because it's an important part when you go through the healing that you know that these bowels are actually normal and that when your body goes through removing the toxicity, this is what comes out. And I think that helped you a lot when you were going through this as well, because I would actually have a look at your bowel movements and say, yep, so this is what you're going to expect. This is what is happening right now. And in the weeks that went ahead, I think you saw those changes that I told you, and I think that was another key aspect in you believing in yourself, believing in the self-healing method, and definitely seeing that blood get less and less as you week by week went along. And how did you feel when that happened? I guess explain that situation a little bit more.
Hmm. Yeah, so let me just answer or give more information on the previous point. I think going through the transitional diet, my wife was definitely a good support in that because it was not just my effort. It was her delivering a baby and be there for her partner and just support me along the way. It was the combination of having a child and just having to go through this. Because of the work arrangements, I get weeks off for bonding with my baby and my kids when this happens. So that was the time that kind of I needed to make a decision if I wanted to go with the program. So I think that helped me decide to do it. Um, so just being laser focused that this is gonna be the solution for me, understanding that there is an end date for this, would definitely help me just understanding that this is not going to be forever, and I'm going to be in a better stage in my life. So regarding, I guess, feeling better, that was your question, right? Just understanding when things are getting improving. So I kept track, we pretty much keep track of everything that happens on a daily basis. And weekly meetings, we go over those. So looking at the data now, I see that it took me about, I would say, 9 to 10 weeks to see a response for improvement in my body when I first started the healing diet. When I said I'm no longer taking the meds, I probably stopped taking my medication around the second week of January, and I started seeing improvements about the third week of March. So it took about 9 to 10 weeks to see improvements. So if you think about it, it really isn't much of time. I mean, it's time well invested, considering that this is a lifetime condition. I mean, that's nothing. And so the trend basically started going down. I was going to the restroom less often. I was seeing less amount of blood in my stool. And I think around May, second week of May or first week of May is when I basically um, transitioned to the post-healing diet. So I basically, my symptoms became stable. My condition was normal, back to before my condition. So it was about 17 weeks since I basically started the healing until basically I was able to heal myself. Every person's journey is different, but just think about 4 months committed to this. It isn't really, it's worth it to everybody out there. You're no longer contaminating your body. You're pretty much giving the body what it needs to be in its best condition, and just understanding that if you keep this lifestyle, if you keep this way, you're gonna live a long life. You're gonna be there for the loved ones.
Mm, definitely. And Mauricio has also given us some data that I'm going to bring up, and you can see the trend of his bowel movement situation and how they increase and then they start to decrease as he got healthier and healthier and started to get less blood and less bowel movement. So it's actually a really amazing trend that he's recorded, and we have gone through Chronometer and talked about how many calories that he's been getting every single day, along with the bowel movements, and obviously showing me his bowel movements as well, and giving him feed forward on the weeks ahead, and then giving him some other ideas on how to make foods. And this is where the individualization comes in, because not everyone is the same when they're going through their journey. So for example, Mauricio may have been able to eat some different foods in the healing diet as well, and mixing it up a little bit more. But predominantly it was a very similar diet throughout the healing. And how did you feel with the foods? Yes, there's a lot of cravings and things like that. So let's talk about that. How did you feel with the foods that you were eating, and what made you stick to it?
As I mentioned earlier, just knowing that this was going to end at one point, and I think I got a lot of motivation from seeing what other people in the same program are going through, seeing what you eat every day, and I certainly enjoy the challenge of figuring out what I can create myself with a limited amount of ingredients. So I try to post what I was eating every day on my Instagram account, and kind of show other people what I was going through. So I would say that maybe at the beginning of the days, I guess it was probably a little challenging, but it certainly made me feel better. So it showed me that this was the way to go.
Hmm.
And I think there was interesting times when I was making the attempt of making the appearance of normal food with just a little ingredients. So if you remember, I try to make a pizza. I try to create different dishes, and it was definitely good food. The taste of having a lot of food, just the sweetness of the food, understanding that that's the best for your gut. Um, it made me change my mind of, I guess, the importance of having fiber and fruit in your life, and I think it was perfect. At the moment, I may say that it wasn't challenging. It was a little bit, but uh, food, I guess, plants and fruits are honestly the fast food of nature. So my background, my heritage, I'm Mexican, so and just with another um, population in the world, I guess we have our own kinds of fruits and vegetables. So you go to the supermarket, it's easy to get them. It's not something you'll have a problem. It's when you start craving for processed food, stuff that is not readily available for you, is when you start having problems. But for me, I guess I was like, no, this is what I need to eat, and it's easy to reach, easy to open and eat. Just eat right there. So it was a nice journey.
Definitely, and I think this is where a lot of people don't necessarily understand that when when you when you know what you need to do, it makes your journey so much easier.
Uh-huh.
And I think, you know, Mauricio understood what his body was going through and kept giving his body the right foods to heal. And I think as he saw the progress of his body, so for example, everyone goes through a little bit of a phase of diarrhea and things like that, and constipation, all sorts of ups and downs.
Mhm.
And I think as you started to see your bowels start to improve, as you started to see the blood getting less, that made you, I guess, keep going. And I think I kept pushing you that way as well, to keep telling you that, look, things are going to keep getting better and better. Um, and I think that's another reason why you kept doing it and you kept sticking to it, because you understood that this is what I'm going to be doing. Hello. And eventually you will be able to eat the other foods, but you have to wait until your gut becomes a lot more robust and becomes a lot more strong to hold in the stool, and so that you don't have urgency and things like that. So I think that's one of another reason why you kept going, and you didn't have any
Mhm.
cravings as such, because you just knew what you needed to do. So that was really easy for me to kind of go, right, if you want to do this, then this is what you need to do, and if you do it, if you keep doing this, you will see the results. And that's, I can't stress that enough, that if you just have that beautiful mindset, um, of I can do this and I'm gonna do this, nothing's gonna stop you from getting to your goals. Do you have anything else you want to add to the healing phase at all?
Um, I would no, I think it's for those out there. I mean, it's understand that going through the healing is part of the journey, and it's not something to be scared of. There's a lot worse conditions in life, a lot other situations that one can go through. That just by going through the healing diet, you're doing the best for you. So don't be afraid of going through it. Don't be afraid of um, eating these kinds of foods. Don't be afraid of, you're doing yourself a favor for the long term. So just understand that we all have a different lifestyle. I guess we all can understand that it's gonna take a challenge for us to understand what we need to do to resolve an issue, but just be uh, be accountable and take charge of the situation, and you're only responsible. You're the only person responsible for your health. So the healing process should not be a very difficult to go through. So just be brave and do it.
Nice, nice. All right. And I guess let's talk about a little bit more about the healing diet. What was the hardest thing that you had to go through, and what was the easiest thing that you had to go through,
Um,
if there was any?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't easy. And I think what it was hard is to plan my regular activity. Again, my wife was very supportive, and she was there for me, although she just had delivered a child. But um, just having to plan my activities throughout the day. If I needed to go out, I need to understand what I needed to do. I needed to plan my food. Um, I needed to have it ready in case I needed to go out. Just carrying that stuff with me. Um, I guess that logistics, it's a little challenging in the beginning. um, I will say that yeah, trying to think what the easiest was, but um,
I guess the fruit being so readily available and you don't have to cook, you can just blend something up and then take it with you. I think that's what you found really helpful and easy. I mean, I certainly found that as well, and I think a lot of others do find that as well, where you don't need to wait to prepare your food. It's already prepared for you when it's ripe and ready to go. So I think that's something that I know I found and many other people find. I'm not sure if you probably found that as well.
I agree. I mean, it's easy to just grab a piece of fruit and just take it on the road with you if you need to I guess do something. So it was that was probably the easiest part. I would
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. All right, so let's get on to post healing, where your bowels started to improve so significantly at one point, where we started to introduce other vegetables and things like that. And I think that was a process in itself to go through those different phases of okay, when I think when we started to see the blood get less and less and less until it was non-existent. That's when I really um, wanted you to then explore other different veggies so that your microbiome could start getting more fibers and different fibers, I think. But when the blood started to get less, that's when we started to introduce other foods. And I think you yourself were pretty ecstatic when that blood started to go away because you'd had it for probably around about 4 months, right? I think that was the blood was just the blood kept staying there for a very long time. Your bowels were getting formed, and you were going around about 5 to 6 times a day. So it wasn't that urgent, but I think the blood was the most concerning for you. And so when that sort of started to go away, I guess let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it was surprising for me to start now seeing things were progressing for the best. Just not seeing blood in my stool or being seen less and less. It was a sign that the program was working for me, and that what I had committed to was bringing results. And it was something. It was a very joyful situation that I basically my wife and I kind of talked about it and say, hey, I think this is gonna be the one for me. Just understanding that I guess I'm not gonna be in this situation. Hopefully in the future, just maintaining this lifestyle. So yeah, yeah, I guess my body probably got to the point where it just had gotten rid of most of the toxins, and it was just going down and down over time. So the following weeks after that, I guess I got to a point where it was none. So I was very excited because it actually happened before my next GI doctor appointment. So at one point, I had to break the news to my GI doctor that I had stopped taking medication since 6 months back when I had when I had the previous appointment, and even after the colonoscopy. So the doctor was actually starting to suggest me to consider back when before the program start considering suppressants medication, and back then I guess it was like no, this is not the way to go. It's going to make things worse over time, more and more. And also I think there was risk of introducing other um, cancer risk by doing so. So just knowing that I was on the other side and I was able to overcome that challenge, it was very joyful.
Definitely. I mean, that conversation with your doctor was, I think, I mean, for anyone, it's amazing to tell him that, hey, my symptoms are actually going away, and all I'm doing is just eating healthy food, and I'm not on any medications. I think that's sometimes a bit of a struggle for people to understand that, and I guess for GI doctors to understand because they don't know what ulcerative colitis is. They haven't been through that experience of having this disease. I mean, there might be some GI doctors that have had IBD before, but it's probably a very small amount. So for you to tell him that, I mean, yeah, I was also, I think you talked to me after going to your GI doctor and you had a big smile on your face because, you told him all this amazing stuff that's happened and that, that the medication wasn't the answer, and you were now seeing that this way of life was the answer for you, and I think that's what made you feel even better. And then I guess just when you have that feeling, I think of, hey, things are getting better. I mean, honestly, it just pushes you to the next level, and it makes you keep going, and it makes you honestly keep eating the same foods over and over again, regardless of if it's boring or not, because you just know that these foods that I'm putting inside my body are just so nourishing, and that my bowel movements are showing me that effect. And so what I'm eating is coming out so nice and easy and effortlessly that this is seriously working. And so yeah, I think we introduced different vegetables early on. We took it really slow though. I think that's something to note, is that we didn't go straight into like the beans and the rice and all that kind of stuff, because as much as we want to, I think we still need to hold off on that. And I think, in terms of your culture, beans and rice is very, very common. And it's something that, you always eat, or you always predominantly eat. So easing into those foods was very important as well. So when you started to, I guess, eat these other vegetables, how did you feel? I think the fruit was another thing for you as well. Introducing some other fruits, which you have always been, you always loved to eat the fruit, which was amazing, and I think that was what also kept you on this path, was that waking up every morning and having that smoothie. I don't think you will stop doing that, right? I think it's just one of those things where it's like you feel so good with the smoothie in the morning that that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. I mean, I've been doing that for the last 8 years, and I can't miss my smoothie in the morning. That's for sure. And I'm sure other people out there are probably thinking the same thing. But what was it like to, get a taste of other vegetables? Because you've been on a pretty restrictive diet for quite a long time, and I think you mentioned to me that tasting all these other different veggies, the actual taste of the vegetable you were tasting instead of the condiments that went around that. I remember you telling me one day, like, yeah. So what was it like to introduce new foods after after eating the same thing for a very long time, and then mixing it up with the fruit as well, and also in between this process, you also um, started to go back to work, I think it was.
Correct. Actually, before I was on the healing, I'm sorry, before post healing, I was already returning to work. So uh, I guess I was basically carrying a big bag of fruits, and because honestly, it was quite easy to do that. As we mentioned, it's fast food. So I took a juicer with me as well. So I had a juicer at work, and I was taking pretty much vegetables to, I guess, basically do juice in the morning. If it wasn't a juice, then I'll do probably a smoothie, already prepared, or just have raw fruits. And yeah, you could see me carrying a couple of bags full of fruits and
Hmm.
vegetables every day. But I guess it was around the time when it was a little convenient for me, was that I guess we were sent to work because of all this pandemic situation, and I was able to return back home and pretty much just stay home and take care of myself and my family. Um, but yeah, I guess it wasn't really hard. It wasn't really hard. It was just spending the time during lunch to basically open up the fruits and basically eat it. So
Yes, and I guess I mentioned there about the vegetables that you ate for dinner. How did you feel about eating these other foods? I mean, did they taste amazing, or how did you feel? Because
Yeah, so
I found that for myself too, where you know, as soon as I started to eat some other vegetables, I could feel the taste, I could feel the flavors, because my taste buds had been, I guess, deflavored. So I don't know how to say that, but um, yeah, because I'd been eating simple for such a long time that anything new was just like, oh wow, this I'd never ever tasted a bell pepper like this before, or a mushroom or something. It was just totally different.
yeah, for sure. Introducing new vegetables was quite good. I guess all introducing all those flavors that I had not had in a long time was definitely giving my taste buds a moment of a good
Joy,
moment, basically,
yeah,
of joy, and just understanding. I guess that I could introduce more foods little by little, and that I knew that my gut was going to get better and better. With these new foods that basically nurture myself. Um, yeah, I guess. But I kept enjoying the ones that I had eaten all along, and it was easy to get used to.
yeah. So let's just have a breakdown of that: sweet potatoes, potatoes, broccoli, carrots, zucchini, cauliflower, I think it was, bell peppers, eggplant. I think you made some sauces out of this as well. So that was, I think, post healing, wasn't it?
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Swiss chard. Um, uh, yeah, and then later on we started with during the post we started introducing rice, rice little by little, and eventually built my way up to legumes. So legumes definitely were something that I was craving for, and I was very happy when I got to a point where I was able to eat them back.
Yeah, nice, nice. Okay, so overall, how did you find the program, and how did you find the process of healing and our coaching, and what would you say to people out there that want to do it?
So don't think twice about it. Just do it. This is certainly the way to go. Um, it's for me it was a lifetime experience. Just knowing that by going through this, I overcame my lifetime challenge, and kind of makes me feel that I can do anything just by challenging my body, challenging myself, my mindset, and being able to overcome this. So if you decide to do it, it's you're gonna see yourself as a super yourself. Um, it's just working with you guys. The whole program is very easy to follow. It's just a mentoring that you guys do on a weekly basis, sharing with you guys everything. You're pretty much open sharing everything. You mentioned that I would show you pictures of my stool, pictures of what I was eating, and just having that openness. I think it makes me feel comfortable to talk directly to you. I don't think I got to that level with any of my GI doctors. I don't think they were even interested in seeing what my stools look like. And as I mentioned, having someone that has gone through the journey, having someone that has suffered what you suffered, it gives you confidence that this is a program to go through. Um, yeah, you guys were very helpful along the way, easy to reach, very responsive to our messages, to my messages. So always providing uh, support um, in the best way you guys were able to, and I think it's just something that anybody should do if they're wanting to better their health.
Yeah, nice, thanks. Um, all right, so what is your life like now? Let's talk about how far you've come, and I guess it's sometimes hard to remember what you went through because it's just all like it's gone now. You don't even feel like you have any kind of disease, and that's ultimately your goal, and you've reached that now. And how does it feel? I mean, you healed yourself before the 6 months, which was amazing. I think by the fifth month you'd gotten to the point where you just was you were having flawless digestion 2 to 3 times a day, and it was just like life was normal for you, wasn't it? And so talk about how normal it is for you now to just carry on your day and how amazing you feel.
Yeah, so uh, life it's back to normal, how it used to be years ago, before this all started. I'm able to wake up and not having to worry about where I'm gonna go, what things I'm gonna do. I don't have to worry about carrying extra, I guess, clothes with you in case of situation that you may present. Just waking up, craving the food. I mean, I got so used to eating watermelon, cantaloupe, and then follow up with some smoothie later on in the morning. Just craving that sweetness in the morning. It just gives me a lot of energy, for just doing whatever I need to do throughout the day. Being able to be with my kids, be able to go to the park without having to worry about is there going to be a bathroom available. Um, the whole mental aspect about it was very challenging before. I would I'd say that my social life was definitely affected by this. Although some of my close, I guess, family members or maybe friends may not had noticed, but it was all because I mean I certainly was stressed about this situation. I wasn't normal. I wasn't like everybody else, but just being back to normal, be able to enjoy being with the family without being worried about having to go to the bathroom, without having to worry about inflammation, pain, blood. Um, it just feels amazing. I mean, my being with my kids, being able to spend time with my kids, be there for my wife when she needs me. I think it's the best that has happened to me. So I definitely encourage anybody that is looking for an answer and is not finding answers with their doctors. Um, I, you're not going to find it there. This is the best option you should probably consider, and believe that this is really happening. This is not voodoo stuff. This is actually testimonials showing that this program works. That your body it's a self-healing machine, and it's able to help you get rid of what is causing you all this struggle all along.
Man, doesn't it? Isn't it so amazing how something so simple um, and so easy to see? It's just so hard for some people to understand. I mean, I found it hard to understand that when I first found this information. I was like, it can't be this easy. It just can't be this easy. But the fact of the matter is that if you give your food, if you give your body the right conditions, it is able to do the healing work. And just like when you get injured on the outside of your body, your body heals itself, and exactly the same on the inside of your body. But you know, there's decades of damage that have been caused, and so there's no quick fix to this. There's no magic pill. There's no magic powders. There's no shortcuts, and um, you've seen that happen as you've gone through this process. You've been through a tough time, even before you when you got diagnosed and things. And then you've seen your body actually go through the healing. Whereas the healing is not like a flare, is it? And you can be a testament to that, because it's a different way that the body digests food. And when you give it that food that's very soft and easy to digest, you notice that your struggles in terms of your digestion, like your bloating or the pain and stuff, gets reduced automatically, because these foods are nourishing, these foods are soothing your intestines, and I think you saw that happen. And it's so amazing to see you here, man, because I remember you wanting to strive to do the testimonial, and you wanted to be that person, telling people your story, and that commitment, that focus, that determination to get to this point right now. I honestly got to give you a massive hug, and I wish I could a virtual hug, but it's been amazing to see you a change during this time, and uh, I can't say how much how proud I am of you, because I know what it's like to go through that process too, and the more um, I can give you that help to get yourself in that position, the more obviously the more I want it for you as well. And it is amazing to see you here. And I think Mauricio also has something else to say to the audience, and I guess this is kind of the last bit of advice that you want to give to people, and talk about what you have to say and what you want to do.
Yeah, so I believe in the program, guys. I encourage you guys look more into what Shanice and Shakul are doing for everybody else. Um, it's honestly they're helping people. They're not here for anything else other than help people. And I feel committed to it myself. I I believe in the program that I mentioned to Shanice before that I've considered. My wife and I had discussions about this, and we've made the choice that because we believe in the program, we like to help someone else, someone that is looking for an answer, someone that is has been suffering this condition for a long time. We want to help, and because I believe in the program, I wanna provide half of the cost of the program to someone that is out there that it's just they're having issues, I guess, basically being able to find an answer. I believe in the program and I want to help in the way I can. I leave it to the hands of the experts, but I definitely would like to be involved with someone that and share with this person what I went through and tell them that it's possible to heal, because this is going to change someone else's life. It's changed mine, and I feel that it's a way that I feel myself like I'm doing something good for somebody else without really expecting anything back. I want to provide support to someone else and not, I guess, help them not be in this condition for the rest of their life. So for those of you guys that are interested in joining the program, understand that I'm willing to work and help someone that is in need for this kinds of answers. This is not a wand kind of magic program. This is something that you gotta go through it. If you're committed to go through the different challenges in this program, if you're understand that this is going to be the answer for you, and you can overcome these challenges, I want to help you. I want to work with. I want to be able to support and help that condition in your life. As I mentioned, I believe in the program, and I think you're going to be able to overcome this. Just make yourself assured that you're committed to it, and just reach out to me. You can reach out to me via Instagram. Shanice is gonna put my information down there, so just reach out to me and let me know how we can work together and help.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing, man, and you know you're seeing it here in person. You're hearing this from him. He wants to help people because he knows that this works and how much it's affected him. In terms of his health, and he's really wanting to help other people as well. So thank you so much for saying that, and I guess we will figure out the process, and if anyone out there is wanting some help and is doesn't have the funds ready, I think Maurizio is kind enough to help out that way. So, thank you so much for doing that. I mean, it's such a nice gesture, and we all have to work, obviously, and we all have to pay our bills. And I think it's amazing for you to be able to give to someone that is in need, because you know it works, and you know that this benefited you for such a long time, and you know it's going to benefit you for the rest of your life. So thank you so much for that. Um, I believe I've missed anything, and I think yeah, I mean it's been a really amazing journey, and I can't wait to meet you in person, man, and give you a big hug, because it's been life changing, and um, I really do see it in yourself, and I really do see that you have taken this on board. Um, not you don't take things lightly, and you've done your research, and you've really looked at all other aspects, and you've found that this way works the best because it makes the most sense, for example. So I think it's amazing that you've come across this way of life, and you continue to do the things that you do, and you're only going to see your reduction of risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's, and so many other issues. And that's why Mauricio is on a plant-based diet. For those that are listening, a plant-based diet does not only help your gut health, right? It helps so many other aspects to your life, and your arteries, your kidneys, your heart health, and your brain health. It's not just your gut health that you're helping, and that's what the science suggests. And you've got to really look at the science, because that's where the answers are as well. And anecdotal evidence is great, but if you don't have the science to back up that anecdotal evidence, then doesn't really show much. So this is why a plant-based diet works for a lot of people. And if you have the mindset, if you have the commitment, if you have the focus to get this done, you will be able to do it as well, just like Mauricio, just like myself, and just like so many others that have been able to really tune in to how their body works, and what is required for their bodies to get rid of this disease off the body, and put your body back into ease. And it's just so amazing to see another success story, because when I went through this, I felt amazing, and I wanted to share this with so many people, and I'm doing that now, and people are seeing the results themselves, and it's so great to see. So I wish you all the best, Mauricio, and I wish your family also the best, and your extended family, and how you continue to inspire people, in terms of your journey, and your family and your culture. I'm sure that people are also going to make changes to their food and their lifestyle, because of what you've been through. And I know that my family has been influenced by myself, so no doubt that you also will influence other people to change their ways, and to reduce the risk of disease. And what else can I say? It's been an amazing time working with you, and sharing all your ups and downs. And I think, as I said, I wish you all the best. And I guess, do you have any last words to say?
Thank you so much, you and your brother, for what you guys are doing. You guys are saving lives. You guys, I think I asked you, I guess you guys have helped over 300 people out there. I mean, it's just amazing how many people you've helped over time, and it's just amazing to know that you guys are doing this for people. If you're questioning that this is not this is going, I guess, what the medicine is saying, there's science behind this. I mean, and if you are questioning what went through my journey, I provided some data to Shamiz, and my lab results before I started the program, after I finished the program, are proof of how my body was able to respond to this program. And I'm still here. And if I did it, you guys can do it. Just believe in yourself. And you're really the only one can make this choice. You gotta put yourself the effort, and just go through it. This is something that is temporary, and just have the braveness to go through it. It's accomplishable, and it's not hard. So believe in yourself. I believe in you guys.
Thank you so much, man, and thank you so much for sharing your journey. And I'm sure a lot of people will be watching this, and getting inspired by your story. So thanks for doing that, and all the best to you, man.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Give this video a thumbs up if you know what it's like to have colitis or Crohn's disease, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. This channel was about helping people recover from colitis and Crohn's disease. If you go to our website and fill out the health survey, you are entitled to a free 30-minute consult from anywhere in the world. We look forward to hearing from you. And always remember, there is a life after colitis and Crohn's.